Welcome to the SciFi Pubcast. Come for a drink, but stay for the speculation. Remember when Netflix released Stranger Things Season 2 last October, right before Halloween? Well, we're feeling very nostalgic in this show. 'Tis a strange thing. We're joined by fellow podcaster Chris McGuffin of the Crash Couch, Chasing Fandom, and the Chordcast podcasts. We guarantee this episode feels better than Joel's hangover. So pour yourself a tasty drink. This is the SciFi Pubcast. Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. And looking around, who do we have in the bar tonight? Is that you, Derek? Derek, are you there?
I'm always here, like a bad rash.
Oh, God. So, I hate to ask you this, but how's the kitchen doing?
It's great. Spick and span.
Anything new?
Yes, in honor of today's subject, I have a new dish called the Upside Down Brisket. It's basically beef, but what they do is they turn the cow upside down before they kill it. It's what they call pre-distressed beef.
That doesn't even make any sense.
And I'd like for us to charge a little more for it than normal because this is fresh meat from an actual cow, unlike our normal meat. So I think we should charge a little bit of a premium for it.
Okay. Derek, how do you turn the cows upside down?
Well, I haven't been to the slaughterhouse myself, but I'm told they use a series of rigs and pulleys, kind of like that Catherine the Great used for her horse. Only it turns out a lot better for the horse than it does for the cows.
Right.
I'm sure there's an SPCA suit on our way now.
Yeah, good thing we don't have a physical address just yet.
Just out of curiosity, does everyone here know about Catherine the Great? Or does that make no sense to them?
No.
Yeah, they can Google it. Just I wouldn't go on any image files.
Yeah, don't do an image search.
Okay.
I didn't need to know that.
And it sounds like we have Carrie Simpson. How's your the quality of your day been so far?
Not bad. I'm finishing up some packing for my trip up north. By the way, Joel, I let you know that while I'm gone, I've doubled the Ewok staff, and they are charged with keeping a very, very close eye on Derek and whatever it is he's doing back there in the kitchen.
That's excellent news, because if this podcast teaches people one thing, it's don't mess with the Ewoks.
Chihuahua.
And I'm Joel
Yep,
Welch. Yes. Yeah. And of course, I hate to tell you this, you guys, but I'm slightly hungover. I was overserved yesterday at the bar.
No,
a different bar.
really?
So some people just don't have the same standards of professionalism that we do here. But I'm happy to be here anyways, talking to some of my best friends. Speaking of which, we do have a customer. My God, who do we have? Where is he? Did he leave?
Maybe.
Chris, are you there?
What in God's name have I gotten myself into?
Thank you, Chris.
And it's Chris.
You are starting to feel my pain.
Somebody told me to come to this bar, or this pub, sorry. We call it a bar here in America. And I don't know why. Like, I look around and I see the weird guy in the kitchen. I'm like, I don't know if I want to order anything or not. We'll have to see how this goes.
Great. And that fine voice, Derek customer, is Chris McGuffin. Chris McGuffin, he's been involved in the podcasting community on several different shows. Chris, where can people find you right now? And what shows are you on right now?
Well, I'm currently on Crash Couch and Chasing Fandom, both of which are on the When Nerds Attack network. We've not released an episode as of this recording yet, just because of weird things. I don't want to say strange things, but weird things. And I'm also on the Chordcast, which is a music podcast that I do.
Nice. And talking about strange things and strange recordings, it took us an hour just to prepare the tech because we've had some technical difficulties. It's like out of 1983 here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or someone is just playing with us, watching us from afar. All right, so our topic would be Stranger Things and the use of nostalgia in it. But before we get there, I just want to say, Derek.
What?
Derek, yeah, you're doing an outstanding job managing the Facebook page for our
thank
show.
you.
Okay? There has been no lawsuits yet.
Yet.
Thank you.
Give me some time.
Yes. So if you are, you want to keep update to see, news, breaking news and popular culture, check out our Facebook page. And I'm the guy on the Twitter handle, so I do the Twitter and Derek does the Facebook. So that's how that works. But today we're talking Stranger Things, and specifically its use of nostalgia. Now, as an old guy, and I think I'm the oldest person in this bar right now, I find this topic particularly compelling. If you don't know, Stranger Things is just season 2 just was posted on Netflix last month, right around Halloween. It's a TV show created by the Duffer Brothers, and it is set in the town of Hawkins, Indiana, where strange things are afoot, beginning in the year 1983. The show incorporates elements of science fiction horror while paying homage to the 1980s popular culture. From this point, yes, this is going to be full of spoilers. So if you haven't seen season 2, don't listen to this podcast until you do, please. Because this is a great show and we don't want to muddy the art, so to speak. What do you guys think?
Can I go first?
Go right ahead.
As your customer, I want to go first. General thoughts on Stranger Things season 2. Not as good as season 1. It was still.
Oh.
And see, here's the thing. I view Stranger Things season 1 on the level of great. Like, it is essential, classic, will eventually be known as like one of the greatest of all times seasons of television. Stranger Things 2 is on the level of good. Like, you have to see it. That's how good it is. But it's not at that great level yet. It might be after, it settles in a little bit. And once the full, complete series is out there. But just as a standalone, I thought when I was watching it for the first time, the first couple episodes, that it might, surpass season 1. But it just never hit that mark. And there's a few things about it that I really didn't enjoy as much as I wish I would have. But not saying it's bad, it's just not as good.
My God, that's so cute, Chris, because you're nostalgic from for season 1 of last year. God, and we remember back when the shows were good, like last year.
He liked Stranger Things before it was cool.
All right. It's funny. That's an interesting take because season 2, if you listen to Beyond Stranger Things, which is the interview program about Stranger Things on Netflix, and they mentioned that season 2 is bigger in its scope, and it's bigger into the danger that the characters face, and it's more cinematic with big shots and more CGI and visuals. Because we're talking about our dimension, our humanity is at stake. Whereas before, it was kind of like a monster with a shark, doesn't really think all that well. It's an animal. Now we have a Mr. Big Evil Guy. I miss one this evil. I'm very nostalgic about black and white evil stuff. So So Stranger Things.
Carrie, what did you think of it?
I really liked season 2. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think I like it better than season 1. Just because, as Joel said, there's a broader scope of what is going on with. You're definitely seeing that the stuff has been moved out of just the small town that the lab is located near. I can't remember the remember the name of the town right now. Yes, Hawkins. So you can definitely see how things are affecting the world outside of Hawkins, kind of. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not completely sure if it's better than season 1. It's definitely not. I wouldn't drop someone into the beginning of season 2 on there without first showing them season 1. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Before we get Derek's opinion, I want to chime in and say that I think one reason why I didn't like 2 as much as 1 is because with season 1, I think when they found the quote unquote body in the lake, I think that was like season 3 or not season 3, episode 3 or 4 or something like that.
Yeah.
And you really had this sense of mystery and suspense. It wasn't like this action-packed thriller. It was more of like this slow building, suspenseful, noir-like feeling of, well, what happened to this kid? Where did he go? What are all these weird things that's going on? People are seeing like shadows and hearing noises in the woods. Like, what is it? Is it a monster? Is it an alien? Is it a person? What is it? And we got that feeling of mystery and suspense. And this time, you really didn't have that. And I'm a big fan of those kinds of slow-moving character dramas almost. Mm-hmm. And this one, you really didn't get that feeling, because you knew from the start that something would be wrong with Will because of that ending scene of season 1. Had you not seen that scene and thought everything was fine for him, maybe it would have been better, because they could have ease into the fact that, hey, he's not completely, his head isn't completely on right. Like, it's not just hallucinations and nightmares he's having. It's like a legit thing inside of him.
This is great. Okay, Derek, enter stage right. Go.
Well, I would compare season 1 and 2 to Alien versus Aliens, the movies. In the first one, it's a small story with a small group of people dealing with a single monster they've never encountered before and don't know anything about. And then the second one, the scope is drastically larger. There's a whole army of the aliens, and they're controlled by this queen controlling intelligence, and it's a lot bigger. There's a lot more action, and also Paul Reiser is in it. So I definitely enjoyed season 2 more than season 1. I love season 1, but it is, as Chris was saying, kind of small and slow, and I enjoy having more going on. The one large negative about season 2, though, was that I really did not like the fact that Eleven was off in her own little story and that she wasn't interacting with the boys at all. I really wanted to see her with the boys the whole season, and that was really frustrating. And especially, well, we'll talk about it more later, but yeah, I didn't like having her separate from the rest of the cast for almost until the last episode.
Joel, what about you?
I enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it for different reasons. I like my film noir, as you well know, and I like the slow build up in terms of suspense. And almost a very Twin Peakish like this first season, and then it got weird. Whereas I think season 2 was much more action based. They're laying the groundwork for season 3 and 4, but I still took a lot of enjoyment out of it, watching different aspects of that story. Just the scenes, the Ghostbusters stuff, the old cars, the 1984, because we're into 1984. World, and I was 10 years old in 1984, so it's like, yeah, I was these kids only a couple years younger. Like my brother was their age, and that's why I think nostalgia. And it's nice that we can talk about a story or a TV show and talk about different aspects of it. But I think it's the nostalgia factor that makes this show work so well. Even season 2 versus season 1, they're both good seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see that.
As someone who was not born until the early 90s, I can't, on a personal level, relate to the whole 80s thing. People that have listened to me or followed me on Twitter know that I absolutely despise Ready Player One, the book, because it relies too heavily on that nostalgia for 80s related content. And it's not just, that's a completely different story. I'm not going to go off on a tangent, I promise. But
you said, what about Steven Spielberg? You don't like him? What?
That's for a completely different show, Joel.
Right.
But I think Stranger Things does it really well because, yeah, it's part of the setting. It's not part of the story. Like, you're not having the kids, in order to defeat like the main baddie of the season or an episode, you're not having them like dress up in their Ghostbuster suit and use a Ghostbusters reference to kill or damage or like get rid of the threat. I think they used at one point. Dustin got his little pet. I can't remember what the name of it was. Yeah,
Dart. Walk.
He caught that in the Ghostbusters thing, but like it wasn't something that was reliant upon that. Like you could have had that just be like a normal cage if you wanted to. But yeah, that's when you talk about nostalgia, Joel. I think Stranger Things, it does it well. Like it reminds you of that time. It brings you back to maybe when you were a kid or when you were growing up during that time. Not for me personally, but for you, I'm sure many others. But again, you don't have to have been a child of the 80s, for example, to fully enjoy this series. Yeah, if that makes sense.
It does. And just for the record, back when I was 10, I had hair. The good old days, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was 3 years old in 1983, so I wasn't personally alive for this period, but I feel the nostalgic pull for it just from the movies of that time period, like E.T., Close Encounters, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. So it's not, I mean, I feel nostalgia not for having lived through this, but for having grown up with the movies of that era.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I was 6, so it kind of sort of there are bits and pieces of stuff that kind of sort of missed me, but this is the kind of story that really can only have taken place in the 80s if we're talking about real world consequences and stuff, because in the 80s you could have 3 to 5 kids running around at all hours of the night and no one really cares. Mm-hmm. As opposed to now where kids either don't go outside, or if they do go outside on their own, there's a risk of cops being called and parental units being judged very harshly and stuff. So yeah.
Not to mention they have smartphones now, so they can check in with their parents who are in helicopters hovering around their heads.
Too, yeah. But I think Joey Spires would have had several visits from social services if this were taking place today.
It was a more innocent time back then.
Yes, the Cold War was very, very cold. You have the election between Reagan and Carter, and you see these election signs in this season 2.
No, actually, it's the 84 elections.
Oh, right, so
Reagan, it's Reagan and
yeah,
Mondale.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not. Yeah,
I know. You're not from here, Joel.
I'm half American. I keep it up. So, listen, I blame American football for making me stay at the bar. So there you go. Yes.
Would it be fair to say that back then people were worried about not the homegrown threat, but the foreign alien threat, like the Russians, the Chinese, the communists, and they're not worried about your child being abducted or worse, or people just didn't think about that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, child abductions happened, but there's less helicoptering now than there is now.
And there also wasn't a 24-hour news media to sensationalize every bad story out there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just remember in 1984, so the year this season 2 is set, you had the movie Red Dawn that came out.
Yes.
Look to the skies for these Russian and Cuban parachuters who's going to parachute into the Midwest, such as places like Indiana.
They were all preparing for that. They weren't preparing for terrorists and stuff.
Personally, I love the series because one of my favorite movies of all time as a kid, and I still love this to this day, is Goonies.
Yes.
I'm in the pro Goonies camp. And the worst thing that can happen in the Goonies is that you get killed by some dead, pirate or some mobster. That's about it.
There are shades of gays. You know what? There's actually also some shades of Monster Squad, just because based on the fact that they are dealing with a monster of some sort for both seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that they are a squad chasing a monster.
That was kind of implied in what I said, Derek, but thank you.
Sure.
Right, who put Derek on the team?
You did.
You did.
You're probably
Derek
drunk
is
at the
your
time.
fault. Derek is your fault, Joel.
Oh, well, what can I say? I'm a big softy. Okay, what do you guys think of the most controversial episode yet in the show? Episode 2, season 2, chapter 7, The Lost Sister. That's where 11 goes to, I believe, Chicago and join a bunch of a street gang, basically.
Again, that is not something she could have gotten away with in this millennium.
Yeah.
Dad,
It's like that person that asked her on the bus or something. I think after she left Chicago was like, "Where are you going? Home?" And she's like, "Well, you're far, long way from home." I'm like, no one would do that today.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just, it kind of makes you long for those days.
Yeah, I was like, I would go batshit if I had to deal with my parents today in this day and age. Right? Cause my parents would leave me home all the time, and I just go in the backyard and play. And who's gonna say anything? The only people who are going to show up at my house are people who know how are like would have been my grandparents or something. People who actually know me and know how. All the real visitors to the house would come in the back, not the front. So.
Yeah. I know that I have a different opinion on this episode than you guys do, so I'm going to save myself for last.
Okay, I just want to bring the whole unsupervised children out playing business. I just remember one of the first episodes of this season 2. You have Mad Max, Max Mayfield, played by Sadie Sink, red-haired girl, and it's her first day in science class. And was it Mr. Clark? Says, "Oh, welcome to our curiosity voyage." And that's the thing. It's about learning. It's about going down all these little paths and turns to see what's behind next door, or what behind or around the corner.
Yeah.
It's so you have that much more sense of freedom to learn, as opposed to now where everything's so tightly controlled because of safety concerns.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, do you really want your 12-year-old or 13-year-old to go out and join a punk gang, in Chicago?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
it's
what's
not
next?
Like
You're gonna take. You can
know.
Yeah. What's next? You're gonna take a 40-mile hike to the Bronx,
Sure.
which is the Warriors, by the way. South Bronx, I think Brooklyn. Yeah, forget it. Okay. So episode 7, season 2, the Warriors episode. What did you think? Let's go with Derek. Go.
I did not really care for it myself. I didn't like seeing 11. Well, first of all, as I said before, I was frustrated that she wasn't interacting with the main cast. So to have an entire episode of her going off to another city and becoming a bad girl and a criminal, I didn't really care for it. And according to the internet, most people didn't like it either. I think it would have worked better if it was intercut within other episodes, but to have a solid 60 minutes of just that was just too much for me.
Is it the fact that she went on basically a road trip, so it was out of the town of Hawkins, Indiana, that you didn't particularly like?
I mean, that was certainly part of the problem. I just wanted her to be interacting with the main cast and helping with the main story the whole way through. So to have her just going off doing her own thing was very frustrating. I mean, yes, her going after her mother was a necessary story, but her becoming a criminal and going on all these little heists with them, I didn't really like that. And the other weird thing about it was we're introduced to Callie in the opening scene of episode 1, and then I spent 7 episodes wondering, where's Callie? Where's Callie? Why did they introduce us to this girl? When is she going to show up again? It was kind of a weird choice to do, because you were spent a very long time waiting for this story to develop.
Yeah, it was a bit of a head fake there. Playing so many mind games. Honestly, guys, I can't wait till the next season when the entire gang goes on a road trip to Epcot in Orlando and go to Disney World. I can't wait to see that.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
Yeah. And I can see, the upside down turvy world of this, creature that basically his tentacles are over this Epcot ball. And, I can't wait for that.
Figment the dragon could be the villain. And he becomes like this dark, evil, twisted version in the Upside Down.
Right.
Okay.
Carrie, what do you think of that episode, the Lost Sister episode?
I get Derek's point. I think this episode was kind of necessary. I think this episode and the previous episode where she's gone off to learn about her past and find her mom and find her sister. These were necessary things that 11 had to do. And I don't know that episode 7 could have been interspersed that way with everything else based on because I think it's because of the timing issues. You don't know how long it's taken her to get from point A to point B, and by the time that she sees Hopper at that and knows that she has to go back, you know two or three episodes have passed by this point, and she knows that she has to go back and deal with that issue. There's also a way for her to learn to use her power. She needed to go and find someone who could teach her how to do what she needed to do in order to face down the Mind Flayer at the end. And plus, Callie was actually going after people who worked at the labs. So I have a feeling that Callie may be seen in the next season.
Hopefully.
Yeah, probably waiting in line at Disney World.
I actually did expect Callie to show up at the end and use her powers to convince the Mind Flayer either to leave Will or to go back through the portal. I assumed that her power was somehow going to be the one thing that they needed to defeat it, and I was surprised that never happened.
Well, I don't think it's actually defeated at this point.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
Well, not defeated, but,
Plus, I don't think Callie knew about the Upside Down when she left. I mean, they aren't really clear when she left the research facility, but I have this feeling that it was before 11 opened the Upside Down, so she wouldn't know to deal with that yet. But as I said, she is going around and taking care of all the people who worked there. So I have a feeling her path is going to lead back to Hawkins eventually.
Chris, you've been quiet. What's your thoughts on episode 7 of Lost Sister?
Well, first of all, I side more with Carrie on this than I do Derek, although there are things that Derek mentioned that I agree with. For example,
drinks.
For example, I do think it should have been interspersed, or if not interspersed with other scenes from other episodes, maybe it shows up earlier. You can even have one of those, like, I don't know, 3 days later type pop-ups that lets you know, hey, this is in the future. You don't actually even necessarily need that. You can just say, oh yeah, this is what 11 has been doing, and show that she's in Chicago and then does all this stuff. And then at the end, she sees Hopper, and then she sees Mike freaking out because I think that's when Will is going through an episode or something. And you're like, wait a minute, something is wrong, but we haven't seen that yet. Like, what's going on? That would have been a nice, cool way to do a little bit of foreshadowing. But the fact that we've already seen it, kind of, you see that scene and you're like, oh, okay, so 11's going to come back and save the day, just like usual.
She's a bit of a mover and shaker, that girl.
But this is where I've got to disagree with Derek. Like, if you have her be with the main gang for for the entire season or even half of the season, you're kind of, because we forget that in season 1 she sacrifices herself for her friends. And then, you have Mike that's having to really deal with that because he was closest to 11. You have him deal with that for the entire year that we don't see. And then you just expect her to oh yeah, she just shows up. Like we can't have that because one, like Harry said, she needs to have a reason to develop her powers in order to defeat the monster at the end. And you wouldn't get that if she's with the gang, and you're basically getting a sort of a rehash of the first season, which you really don't need. It's like, I mean, I hate to bring Star Wars into this, but it's like Empire Strikes Back. It's like Empire Strikes Back. You have the main hero, Luke, away from his friends for most of the movie, and he's not reunited until he is able to face Darth Vader, and he doesn't defeat him, but he at least competes with Darth Vader. Like, imagine whiny Luke at the beginning of that movie that can't even defeat the Wampa fighting Darth Vader. I mean, it's you can't have 11 at the end without having 11 throughout the rest of the series, including episode 7. Like, I didn't have a problem with that. It was honestly, it was a nice change of pace from seeing Will thrash around and be like complaining about there's something inside of him, blah blah blah, for the whole series like we had up until that point.
It's like, trying to get something that's lost. You make a very excellent point, Chris, and for the record, because this is, of course, being recorded, that 11 was lost. 11 sacrificed herself at the end of season 1. It felt so 1983.
Yeah,
but now we're in 1984, and I want my hair back.
Plus, she's in hiding. She can't be out in the public because, for one, because the lab doesn't know that she's still alive. Most of the town, or at least the families involved, are being monitored. So the minute she shows up, using her powers and being all awesome at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the season, that's all off, and you have to not only do you have to deal with the mind flayer, but you also have to deal with the government or the lab or whatever it is breathing down their necks. Having 11 out of the picture for most of the season gives them the time and the breathing room to deal with the majority of the issues with the mind flayer and with the lab, without having to worry about, are we protecting 11 from the government or whoever's trying to get, whoever wants her back under their control. So it makes sense.
You also make a good point there, because without having her in hiding, we don't get the incredible relationship between her and Hopper, which I just loved.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was very good. Yeah.
We like alcoholics in this bar, so yeah, Hopper's he's good.
It was kind of teased that we would see a relationship between them or a bond develop, just because you saw. I know that we saw this at New York Comic Con in 2016, right after the whole Stranger Things thing blew up. Hopper or David Harbour and Millie Bobby Brown were at their own panel, and they kind of talked about how in season 2, because that was announced at the time, that 11 would obviously be back, and that they would have some kind of bond develop between them, because we saw that at the end of season 1 when he would go put the Eggos in the box in the woods, and it was just nice to see that explored, and it was not just a rehash or a reimagining or retelling of season 1, which I still kind of think in ways, and I'm assuming that we'll get to issues we had or problems we had with the season a little bit later, but I think that kind of was the case at some points of season 2. It felt too familiar at times.
Yeah, I like the mismatches. I like the mismatches, by which I mean you have someone like a Hopper character who's a big, giant, strong man, and you contrast that to a little girl who uses her psychokinetic power, kinetic power to be very powerful. And at the end of the day, who's more powerful?
Well,
Exactly.
he also lost a kid too. So this is he's kind of become her surrogate father. He's been like she's. I understand he's too afraid of losing her, like he lost his other little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she died of cancer, right? They had scenes of her in a hospital.
I believe so.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Can we talk about characters for a minute? Like the other, the other group?
Hey, Chris, you can drink as much as you want. You can talk about characters as much as you want. But if you're going to have
shiny
cigarettes,
things.
you have to go outside, okay? That's the way things work nowadays.
This
is not
shiny
1984.
Things, Chris.
Okay?
You can go off on a tangent.
Okay. What do you have to say, Chris? What about characters?
I loved Steve. And I
Steve.
did not think that I would ever say that based on season 1. Because he was just such a jerk in season 1. But the way they kind of gave him his like a taste of his own medicine that we saw in season 1 with what was his name, Billy, right? Yeah. Billy.
Yeah.
And
he was a Power Ranger.
Yeah, and but it was just so nice to see him kind of change and no longer be that bully and kind of like the jock that we got used to in season 1. Plus, him and Dustin is just the best combination ever.
That's going to be.
They were so much fun together.
Yeah, that's going to be the spin-off series, Stranger Things. They're going to have like a romance show.
Mm-hmm. But I think
sky-high hair.
I think all of the characters, really with the exception of Will, was like they went through a different sort of phase than they did in season 1, which was good, because that's a sign of good quality character development. I was a fan of Max. Some people, thinks that she's just like a stereotypical female character to put into the gang, but I really loved her inclusion. Billy was, again, people have a problem with him because he was...
Billy needed to be punched in the face.
Yeah, because he was a bully and he was probably a racist and he was just a jerk. But we saw that it's mainly because of his father that he had that. So it's not like he's just really an asshole for no reason. And
what about Bob?
Bob, yeah,
Bob was fun.
You knew that, spoilers, he was going to die.
I was surprised that his name's Bob the Brain, but when he dies, the creatures basically tore his stomach and chest cage open. He didn't actually attack the brain. That would have been so symbolic.
Okay, guys, I was having dinner when that all happened. I was like, wow, I picked the wrong time to eat. And plus, like the last 2 things I've seen, Charlie Aston, he's died. So yeah, that was not fun.
And I love Sean Astin because, of course, the Goonies, Rudy. I'm a Notre Dame fan.
Of course.
I saw him live in like Fan Expo in Toronto a couple of years ago, and he's just a first class gentleman. And everything he touches, I love.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the new characters, did anybody else think at the beginning that Mad Max and her brother were fellow runaway experiments, and that's why they were so mysterious and hiding out?
Yes, I thought Max might have been some kind of runaway or from the lab that was just hiding in plain sight.
Yeah, and I was actually surprised when that didn't happen. And while I was initially frustrated, looking back on it, it was a very clever misdirect to have us looking the other way while the real story is going on.
Right.
I really like that UFO guy. Maria Bauman, played by Brett Gilman.
Oh, I love that actor. He's so great at playing a creepy scumbag.
It's something about these, these investigator types or journalist types who are just living on the fringe, and he's such comedic timing and just his interaction in episode 5, which is the scene with the Jonathan Byers character and was it Karen Wheeler?
Nancy.
The girl, yeah. Nancy. Oh yeah, sorry. Nancy Wheeler. Yeah, amazing.
Oh, is that the morning after they had amorous relations?
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, he comes up with the breakfast, he's just kind of looking at him, and he's like, oh yeah.
That was completely ad lib, by the way. The oops thing. That was just great.
Another new character that I really loved was Paul Reiser, as I think his name was Dr. Owens, because at first you assume, okay, he's pretending to be nice, but he's really an evil government scumbag. But in the end, it turned out that he actually was okay, and I thought that was really cool, because in the first season we had our mysterious evil government guy, so it was a great change of pace to have the government guy in this season actually be all right.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Right.
And, some people are saying that he will come back in season 3 and end up being a bad guy, but I don't think they do that, because he wouldn't go through the trouble of doing the whole birth certificate thing.
I think if he comes back, he won't be a bad guy.
Yeah. I legitimately think that he was in it for the right reasons, and we saw that too when they were in that conference room, him and I guess the other doctors, when they were talking about Will's brain, which I think that the fact that he was, so staunch and, hey, we need to figure out what's going on, I think that shows his true intentions.
Yeah, that part gave me hives right there. Yeah.
Can we talk about Will for a minute?
Let's go. Let's have some Will say.
Wow, that was not your best pun there, Joel.
No, it's too legalistic. Yes, I know. Okay, Will. So, what do you think about Will, Chris?
Okay. Because I know that people listening to this will probably be screaming at their car or their speakers or computer or whatever they're listening to this one when I say this, but I want to get it out of the way and say that I like the actor's performance. I don't know the kid's name off the top of my head, but he played the part that he was assigned really well. Mm-hmm. That being said, I hated the fact that the season was all about him and that he was reduced to practically a kid in a not in a coma, but somebody that didn't have his own identity, his own voice, because he was, for most of the important scenes of the season, he was taken over by the by the mind flayer. So I don't know. He was annoying. The way that his character developed and was written was just so annoying. Great acting job. It was just so it's not his fault, but it's more of the writers and the overall story. It was just, I don't know, and that's why I say it's very familiar compared to season 1. Like, I know that they had teased, okay, something's going to be wrong with Will, but like, I don't know. I just wanted to see more from him, and I didn't want it to be all about the one character. You know what I mean?
He was only evil in the last 2 episodes, though. He was under the influence, but he was only like evil in 8 and 9.
Yeah, and he was fighting it for most of the season.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, you never actually get to see him be a kid, like a normal kid.
Yeah, he's more like an empty vessel. Right?
Yeah.
He was like he's the exorcist character. He's the victim. He's I'm surprised his head didn't go 360 when he was possessed. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the actor who played him is Noah Schnapp is the actor's name.
Okay.
Oh, Snap.
So yeah, there you go. Oh, Schnapp. I'm not trying to pronounce it.
Schnapp.
So yeah.
Wow.
Speaking of which, schnapps. Have a drink of that schnapp.
I don't have schnapps. I should fix that.
I enjoyed the fact that Will was part of the gang this season because, of course, he basically isn't in season 1. So it was nice to see him just kind of like being part of the gang and everybody caring for him and trying to take care of him. And that his mother wasn't, a raving lunatic this season, but she was still very protective of him. And, like, you can go to the arcade, but you got to call me when you're ready to come back, or, all of those things like that.
I don't know. I just didn't want him to be. I mean, you could make him be a plot device because of his what we saw at the end of season 1, but I don't think you could have. You didn't have to have him possessed. I don't think you didn't have to have him be a physical manifestation of what no one else can see, if that makes sense.
In the original version of the script, they are actually going to have him kill Bob. I think it's a scene in the car where they're driving together. He was supposed to just like do something to kill him right there.
Yeah.
And that was going to be the shocking reveal that he was possessed, but they thought that was too much.
But it's like, I hate to say this because the kid is a really good actor and did the role really well. But I almost wish we would have seen him kind of be like John Hurt's character from Alien, where we know something happens to him, but we don't know that something is inside of him until he freaks out at the dinner table and then falls over and then dies because the alien pops out of his stomach. I almost wish something like that would have happened.
This has only happened here at this Sci-Fi Pub once, okay? We're not going to talk about that. God, I'm still getting the email about that one.
I'm sorry. I thought the meat was cooked, okay?
Wow.
Yes.
And I didn't know you were supposed to take the claws off before you serve it.
Lovely.
Well, I mean, okay, so I understand what Chris is saying about, how the character of Will was portrayed, but if you think about it, I mean, he was in the Upside Down for so long, something had gotten into him. And he's the most... shut up, Derek.
That wasn't me.
That's me. I love the pun.
I'm blaming Derek anyway. But okay, I mean, he's the one with the... Other than 11, he's the one with the most connection to the Upside Down. So if something is going to come at any of the characters, it's going to be Will, because 11 wouldn't be having it.
But why did something have to come at anybody? Why couldn't, we've had a couple, Will having these hallucinations, and then it turns out that maybe he coughs up another one of those little slimy creatures, and that creature ends up being the main monster that they have to kill, or it doesn't have to be Will can be an actual character himself without having to worry about something possessing him, and I don't know, it's just I just didn't like the way his character was written. I didn't like his role. I hope that in season 3
he gets to be a kid.
Yeah, and it's not like there's nothing wrong with him anymore.
Right.
So,
I'm
Chris,
just thinking he has the most connection to the Upside Down. So if the Mind Flayer is going to get... The Mind Flayer probably maybe already had his scent or had some hooks in him already.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's all out of him now because we saw it physically come out. So I think as far as a connection, I think it's done.
Yeah, well, let's hope.
There's one character we really haven't touched on at all, which is Mike.
Yes.
People don't like Mike for this season because...
Wait, which one is Mike? The main character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
He treated Max very poorly, wouldn't let her join the party.
Max joined the reindeer games, I know.
He was stealing money from his sister. He was going through some behavior issues.
But he lost the love of his life.
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with that. What about you guys? Because some of that is just him being a growing kid, and you don't. I mean, at that time, and even still a little bit today, but it's not as prevalent as it was in the 80s and 90s. Being a nerdy kid, into computers and science and nerdy stuff like that, it was viewed as a boys thing, and you don't want a girl entering it because girls are icky, and you're not allowed to join our club because you're a girl, and girls don't like sciencey things, which we know is not the case. But at the time, that, and up until the 2000s, that was the viewpoint, and it's again, it's the 80s, it's nostalgia, it's supposed to be like that.
And you're ruining my childhood, Chris.
Would be the first time.
And plus, I mean, I am obviously not the male on in this episode or anything, but I mean, he was, he lost one girl that he was really into, and he's a teenage boy. He's confused. And this other girl is showing up, and he doesn't want anything to do with her because he doesn't want to be reminded of. No, 11 was their girl, and 11's not there. So I think he feels like she's trying to take, like they're trying to bring Max in to replace 11. Again, I don't know. I've never a teenage boy, so I really don't know how that all works. But they did play up really well with the one episode with the one point where 11 gets to the school and sees him and Max together, and she gets pissed off.
Yeah.
So I understand why they were going in that direction. Kind of.
They really skated that issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the fact that while in season 1 Mike was clearly the lead character and a lot of the story revolved around him, he was much less important this season, and I'm glad that they shifted the focus to others so that it wasn't always about the same person. I thought that was a good choice to make.
Like they had a lot more on Dustin and what's the other kid's name? Lucas, yes.
And Will, of course.
Yeah, and Max. I like how they slowly got Max more involved. I think that was intentional on the writer's part, because we see her and really not want to join the group, and then she slowly warms up to them. Same with Mike. I mean, it takes him a lot longer to warm up to her, but he does eventually. And we saw that from the viewer's point of view as well. So I think just the way that Will aside, every other character kind of really had their shining moments, and it makes me excited to see what happens in season 3, or what they have planned for season 3 rather.
Yeah.
More 1980s fashions. Like, Converse running shoes. Sorry, sneakers? Sorry, I said running shoes.
Did you guys see the YouTube clip of the older kids getting exposed to all the 80s gear and stuff? That just made me hurt. Like, oh wow, you have no idea what we had to deal with, do you?
Oh man. I think things like the old cars, like the Pinto, like everyone had a Pinto back then if you were a family. The cop cars, oh god, they're great. How about the Scooby-Doo van from the Chicago gang? All these. Oh, this is what we have to talk about. And good thing we have a guy who does a music podcast here. Let's talk about music. Chris, what are your thoughts on the music used in Stranger Things?
The entire series, or just season 2?
The entire series.
Well, I really liked it a lot better in season 1, just because you had the whole clash thing between Jonathan and Will. Like that's how they communicated, I guess. It wasn't as relevant in season 2, but again, I like the music choices. It's not. I don't think they'll make it a crucial part of the series ever again, just because you don't want to get something that's rehashing or be too familiar. But I admire their choices of use of music, and I like the score as well. It's very 80s, obviously, with the synth, but it's also it also has that bit of a modern feel to it. So it's a nice mixture. Like it doesn't sound like it's coming straight out of the 80s, but it has that influence, if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense.
Now, Chris, do you see yourself back in, say, 1984 attending the Snowball dance and loving it?
Well, first of all, I probably wouldn't have went to the dance in 1984.
Me neither.
I'll probably be out back drinking beer. That was my thing, my claim to fame. But the Snowball. I like the music. The music actually was really good because it helps with the nostalgia. When you can say, "Oh, this Police song." Oh, wait, I remember when it came out. Well, it's been out for 40 years, but I remember when it came out. It's important.
Exactly.
I think nostalgia is so important. And getting back to our theme, it's. You see it in the movie, and you look for all the Easter eggs, right? You look for the rotary phones. I can't speak today.
Rotary phones.
Thanks. The ham radios. That's the security cameras. Closed caption TV. Yeah. Oh, the arcades. I'm more enough though. I remember spending time in the arcades looking for quarters to play. And Dragon's Lair, I played that as a kid. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm pissed off because it's such a hard game. Well, it's such a good game.
I think one of the pizza places I went to as a kid had it for maybe a month, and then it disappeared, and I never saw it again.
See, I grew up in Niagara Falls, and because it's a tourist town, we always had these great video games. So we were on like the A circuit.
Yeah.
I don't think I played Dragon's Lair, but I remember my mall had an arcade, and I would play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and The Simpsons over and over and over again.
I went through about $20 in quarters beating The Simpsons one night.
Yeah. Lego My Ego. My God. Have you actually seen the commercial Lego My Ego?
Yes.
It's on YouTube. It's 1972. But the catchphrase was still around 10 years, 20 years after.
I'm sure it's still around today, even before Stranger Things.
Yeah, it was part of their marketing in the 90s and 2000s as well. I don't know about now because I don't really watch TV enough to see Echo commercials, but
Chris, you're raffling there.
I'm raffling.
No, forget it.
Waffling.
Trying to make up raffling. Thanks. Oh man, yes, good. Like Polaroid cameras, stuff like that. I use a Polaroid camera as a kid, but who does it anymore? It's so niche right now.
Yeah, true.
And the movies that this show pay homage to is amazing. Close Encounters of the Third Kind, even Star Wars. Stand By Me, Goonies, and then the Stephen King stuff, Firestarter, Poltergeist, even The Thing. And if you go online, you can see some of the major shots they use, camera shots, is basically lifted right off of these classic movies. So it's the same shot. I think that's the Easter eggs. That's part of my enjoyment about watching this TV series, is to see what the filmmakers are trying to do, and also who are they paying homage to.
This season was also very similar to James Cameron's Aliens, straight down to having Paul Reiser in it. They have a scene where all the soldiers have their little body cams and they get attacked by an army of monsters and they get knocked out one by one, and the army of monsters are controlled by a new queen intelligence that we never met before, and straight down to like Paul Reiser running around through corridors trying to avoid getting killed by monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Conspiracy cultures and theories. This show excels in them. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
Who told you to say that?
Right. Okay, Derek, since you're the one who's been to space before, can you tell us about conspiracy theories in this show?
Well, the notion of the government covertly experimenting on its own citizens is certainly something that's happened in the real world with the MKUltra experiments in the 50s, 60s, and I think they finally stopped in the 70s. They were using hospitals and universities and laboratories to conduct experiments on people, including giving them LSD and finding out what would happen. So all this stuff happening with 11, where they're trying to get her to remote view the Russians, that actually was something that the government tried to do back then.
Okay, don't get any ideas for the bar. Just saying right now.
Yeah, you never know who might be listening, Derek.
Wait, someone's listening to this? Are we being recorded?
Oh dear Lord. Okay, let's just wrap up a bit. Let me ask one last question. What was your favorite scene in the entire show so far? Go, Carrie.
I don't know. I don't know that I have a favorite scene. There's a lot of. I'd have to go back. I think I'd have to go back and rewatch it one more time just to pick out a favorite scene.
Okay, but a scene that you remember.
The scene where 11 comes in after she's killed that demi-dog. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. How about you, Derek?
I thought of 3 instantly. Number 1, the ending of episode 6, when Will tells the soldiers to go into the Upside Down, and then at the end he's like, "I'm sorry, he made me do it." And then all of a sudden, an army of demodogs appears and start killing all the soldiers. That was a great cliffhanger. And number 2 The ending when Eleven and Hopper are in that elevator hanging above the abyss, and they're in front of the big portal, and she's like, screaming at it, ah! And the mind flayer is kind of like shooting at her, and she's shooting back. That was, and Hopper is shooting all the dogs around them, and they're falling down. That was epic. That was like a big movie. I really loved that. And the best part is the title sequence when that 2 flashes in. Whoosh, I love that every time.
Derek, can you do that noise again?
No, please. Ow.
Yes. Support the network on Patreon, and that can be your next ringtone.
There you go.
Okay, Chris, what's your favorite scene or a scene that made a lasting impact on your psyche? Go.
Oh, honestly, I'm not sure I have one. Is that bad?
No.
What does that say
not.
about me? What does it say about the show?
Is this a setup? What?
I don't really know if I have a favorite scene. I mean, I liked some of the stuff that we saw in the cabin between Hopper and Eleven, just because it was something new and fresh. I also loved the snowball scene because it showed that, we were kind of so we were expecting Lucas and Max together, which happened. We were expecting Eleven and Mike. That happened. But then you had Dustin, and he's so confident, and he has the epic hairstyle that he got from Steve.
And his new teeth.
Yeah, and the teeth. Which, by the way, anything between Steve and Dustin, or when Steve has to be like a dad kind of figure, that's a highlight for sure. But I liked going back to the snowball when Dustin would approach the girls and he'd get rejected, and then you kind of expected like the cliche of some random really pretty girl comes up to him, is like, hey, I'll dance with you, and then they all have like a significant other or at least a dance at the ball, but then you end up just seeing Nancy come up, and that it's not like Nancy and Dustin is not going to be the next relationship, but that she's being nice and is trying to say, hey, yeah, I'm an older girl. I'm not scared to dance with this, this younger kid. It's kind of a message to other girls. Hey, you're missing out on like the nerd. And it kind of reminds me of me in school, because that never happened to me. And it would have been nice if the the cute upperclassman would have came to me and said, hey, you want to dance to make a point? That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, anything involving the snowball or the dad Steve, as the internet likes to call him.
What about you, Joel?
Me? Well, I like the UFO guy, Murray Bauman. And then the morning after, I'm not even talking about the breakfast scene. It's when you had Nancy and Jonathan. When they're at the front door and they're leaving, and you have Murray that gives him, I think, a bottle of the vodka, the good stuff, and he thanks them, say, yeah, you guys are great, thank you so much, and I don't want to ever see you again, and then shuts the door. Oh, that's so classic.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh, it still cracks me up because it speaks so well to the whole. One aspect is that, hey, they had a good party, they had a good experience. And the other aspect is that, yeah, it's too hot. That I don't want the government breathing down my neck, and it's the conspiracy stuff and the paranoia.
Paranoia?
Being paranoid, yeah. That's just classic. Well, that's going to wrap up the show. This is going to be our closing because it's time to go out and watch more Stranger Things. Unless you guys have anything last minute to say, this is your time.
No.
I think I'm
Carrie's
good.
favorite moment.
Yes.
What's that there?
What was it?
If you have to go back and listen to the episode, dude.
I think the government stole my memories of the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes, cheap.
I can make a comment right now, but I'm just going to keep it to myself.
Thank you, Chris.
The help is.
I don't think it's appropriate for this bar.
Right. So, dear customer, if you're looking for a Twitter address, we can be found at SciFi Pubcast. And we belong to the When Nerds Attack Podcasting Network, and their Twitter address is at Nerds Attack Pods. Please like us on Facebook and interact with Derek, because Derek needs it.
I need friends.
And you can, yes. You can also like our network page, When Nerds Attack. They will appreciate any support. Oh, yes, the iTunes. The dreaded, yes, I have to talk about iTunes reviews. Please, please, please leave us a positive iTunes reviews because that helps other people find our show. And if you do, and if you message me your mailing address, I'll send you a sticker because that's how I operate. And you can also get in contact with us by email. Our email is management@scifipubcast.space. We are always looking for feedback. Carrie, what's your Twitter address?
My Twitter handle is Carrie Blackfire42. That's KERI Blackfire42.
And Derek, what's yours?
I am at Derek J. Beebe.
And I'm at my first name, Joel _ my last name, which is Welch, WELCH. Who else? Oh, right. Chris, you still with us?
Yes, I am. I am at The Curse of Chris.
Joel, if you keep forgetting our guests like this, we will have any patrons.
I know, but it's all right because people can find Chris at other podcasts, right? What are some of your other shows about?
Crash Couch is about the TV show The Expanse. Chasing Fandom is just about fandom culture in general. It's where I go and generally talk to one person, sometimes two, about a specific topic related to being a fan of multiple things. And then Chordcast, like I said earlier, is a music podcast where we talk about pretty much anything music related.
Fabulous. That's outstanding. And lastly, our network, When Nerds Attack, they've started up Patreon accounts. I know they're going to be adding rewards soon, but if you want to help us, you can help them. Think of it as tipping your bar staff. And that's it. It's closing time. Folks, make it home safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.